Okay, what we have here is the Prior Service Entrepreneur. How to use high risk experience to create a highly profitable business by Michael Kaplan. I was going to read the introduction so everyone can get a taste of how magnificent this book is. Anything is possible. Self-distrust is the cause of most of our failures. In the assurance of strength there is strength, and they are the weakest, however strong, who have no faith in themselves or their own powers. Christian Bouvier. So before we begin, I feel obligated to make a public confession. Throughout my formative years as a military veteran and high-risk professional, I absolutely despised business people who were successful. Having grown up in a middle-class suburb of northern New Jersey with two working parents who provided completely for my needs, I had no reason to harbor that level of animosity towards a group of people with which I had no direct contact. I had never suffered any type of harm or wrongdoing at the hands of the wealthy, nor did my parents create an environment in which hostility towards the concept of successful business was supported. To be perfectly honest, my parents encouraged me to be successful and insisted I pursue endeavors that would teach me the values I would need to achieve that goal. Their expectations included that I take my education seriously and excel, which I rarely did on either account, as well as a compulsory involvement in extracurricular sports to instill in me the spirit of competition, which I often did to the detriment of everything else. My parents required me to work part-time after school beginning my freshman year of high school in an effort to teach me the value of labor and the pride of earning an honest wage. I worked as a busboy 3 days a week for a fine dining restaurant that was within walking distance of my high school. Upon hearing the dismal bell at 3 p.m., I would walk to the restaurant, change into a white dress shirt and bow tie, and work until 10 p.m., at which time my parents would pick me up and drive me home. At the impressionable age of 14, I most definitely learned to appreciate the value of hard work. To their credit, my parents took all the appropriate steps to ensure their son would emerge from his teenage years as a well-rounded, educated, and successful young adult who possessed a highly competitive spirit and a strong foundational work ethic. In theory, that plan should have worked perfectly. In reality, however, nothing could have been farther from the truth. In spite of my parents' best efforts to instill in me the desire to succeed, to be successful, and for reasons I did not understand until many years later, their best intentions had quite the opposite effect. And for reasons I did not understand until many years later, I actually blamed my upbringing, i.e. my parents, for any result in my life I considered to be less than successful. It would take me 25 years to discover just how limiting shifting blame and a victim mindset was to my potential development. Working throughout high school should have instilled in me a sense of pride and ownership in my future. It should have taught me the value of establishing a strong work ethic, saving for the future, and enjoying the pride of self-sufficiency. On a subconscious level, it worked. Unfortunately, my conscious mind received a much different message. I would arrive at my high school each day at 7:30 a.m., then find my fellow freshmen who were congregating in the common area and catch up on the happenings of the preceding day. Having worked the prior afternoon and evening left me exhausted and socially uninformed, and I would rely on these morning meetings to catch me up on all the topics that could be important to someone of my age. The areas in which we congregated tended to be located in close proximity to the student parking lot, the center of our social universe at school, and afforded me the opportunity to locate my friends as they arrived each morning. It also gave me the chance to witness the arrival of those students who lived like within social circles of the elite. My friends and I refer to these students as children of privilege, spoiled rich kids, and a number of other colorful titles that would not be appropriate to write in public. They drove status mobiles, BMWs, Mercedes, Audis, adorned with personalized license plates that we referred to as vanity tags. They may or may not have been the nicest people in the world. I didn't know, nor did I care. What I did know was that I was exhausted from working the night before, only to come home to a mountain of homework that would only postpone my sleep even further. While I had been developing a strong work ethic, these socialites had spent the afternoon at the local mall shopping for Jordache jeans. They were wearing clothes and driving cars they didn't buy with money they didn't earn. Instead of embracing the positive aspects of the lessons my parents tried to impart, the experience left me bitter and resentful. However, the law of unintended consequences wouldn't stop there. If I could twist a positive lesson regarding a strong work ethic into a negative, you can rest assured I extended that misguided logic into every other aspect of my 14-year-old life. This held especially true in the area of extracurricular sports. Like many parents directly involved in the development of their children, my parents determined that my participation in organized sports at an early age would be helpful for my social and physical development. It wasn't a total loss. The physical development aspect of the exposure worked like a charm. The social development still continued to suffer as a result of my false assumptions and preconceived biases. The act of imparting the values of sportsmanship, teamwork, and a competitive spirit is virtually a prerequisite to healthy mental and physical growth. I trained hard, I competed hard, and I learned how fulfilling it was to win. I also learned how much I hated to lose, especially when that loss was in public, with nowhere to hide and no one to blame but me. I hated losing so much that not losing became more important than winning as a motivation to engage in the sport. Eventually, I hated losing so much that I simply quit the sport altogether and walked away. That's right, I quit. The act of quitting something for negative reasons is a unique event with even more unique consequences. On the one hand, those who were able to overthrow the initial trauma and embarrassment of quitting the first time find it easier to quit the next time. After a few practice runs, quitting becomes second nature and virtually painless.